In the event video with the Ebon Jaguar, you would have seen the laser vomit build that I posted for it, and it was okay, but not really what I wanted to do with that mech. If I was going with pulse lasers, I don't know, I might actually try the 8 medium pulses instead of the mediums plus the larges. But I mean, just that's an even more boring build than larges plus mediums. And it's getting more and more important to me that I have differing setups for my mechs. Before, it used to just be enough for me that I had a mech that performed well. You know, if something performed well, I decided, okay, well, that's what I'm going to do with that mech. You know, that's how I'm going to leave it. And now, when I get in a different mech, I want it to perform, you know, fairly differently than my others. So I don't really want to do laser vomit on that one. So I've been looking for something else. And I thought this combination might work out, having short-range missiles to try to open up a target. That's why I have SRM-4s with Artemis rather than SRM-6s, because I want my damage to be more concentrated to give me a better chance of actually opening up a component, so that I can then try to crit that component with the LB2s. Plus the LB2s let me kind of poke at longer ranges like I was doing there with that Hunchback. It's not really very good for long range, but you know, I can at least tag someone at that range and, you know, put them, make them, you know, kind of sweat who's shooting them and start looking around hopefully and possibly retreat, even if I'm not really doing damage. Still, this map in general is just very, very frustrating when the majority of your firepower is short range, because you have to cross this large, you know, gulf in the middle. And there's just not a lot of cover to do that with. You know, you can kind of sneak under that bridge for a while, and that's about it. I was kind of looking around here to see who on my team had ECM that I might be able to cross that gap with. Sadly, this Blood Asp does not have it. I usually just assume that somebody's running, you know, a Blood Asp A or B that has ECM in the center torso, but unfortunately this guy did not. Here I may be spending too much time on this commando. For the most part, I just want to make sure that it does not get to just freely sneak around our team and start backstabbing us.
Warning, incoming missile. Warning, incoming missile.
Target spotted.
New target acquired. New target acquired.
The commando alone is pretty well being dealt with at this point, and then I saw that we had the Locust as well, who was probably retreating considering how much force we had on that left flank. So I think fairly soon here I decided to kind of ignore that left flank and actually move around to the side, because again, this was just kind of a boring match for me, just sitting here doing a whole lot of nothing.
New target acquired.
And at this point, a decent amount of my team either has made or is making the march across the middle. So I decided I should
New target acquired.
Start, you know, heading in that direction so that I can ultimately get over there. Because if you can't, you know, move across the Gulf quickly, or if you can't move under cover of UCM, then generally your only real choice is just to try to move up when you're there with other targets, so that any one person doesn't take all the damage.
target
Target
And
acquired.
there's that commando again.
Target spotted. Target spotted.
When it comes to lights, I'll probably never really quite get that balance down of deciding whether I should be ignoring them or, spending my time on them. Because with that commando, I kind of didn't want him to just, free fire at my back. But at the same time, I knew I wasn't really going to do anything.
Warning, incoming missile. New target acquired.
Target spotted.
I know we had a Shadow Cat in this position earlier, which is kind of why I came over here. And at this point, I don't really know where they've gone.
New target.
Or I should say I wasn't paying attention to where they've gone.
Target spotted.
For situations like this, I'm not really sure how I would change the build unless I swapped over to Ultra Autocannon 2s. I mean, that would give me a slightly better long-range punch, although
Spotted.
it wouldn't, I think,
Target spotted.
mesh as well with the SRMs. I mean, a couple of Autocannon 2s are okay. They're not really very much firepower. So if you're only going to have two of those, then what is their point? Am I just going to bring them to deal damage at long range? Or can they serve some other purpose in conjunction with something else? And I don't really know what a pair of AC2s or UAC2s will bring to the table.
New target acquired.
Now here we've made, I don't know, kind of a moderate push against their team, but they have, I think, the majority of their firepower over here, and we've got, about 5 or 6 people.
Target acquired. Acquired. Target destroyed.
Here I really wanted to get the left side of that Thunderbolt, although if I remember that variant correctly, it doesn't really have all that many lasers on that side, so it won't really cripple their build to take out that left torso.
Target spotted.
Enemy base is being captured. New target acquired. New target acquired.
And here I really shouldn't have picked this fight. I mean, an AC-20 is more than enough to punch through me, and this guy is not damaged enough for me to take him out. Again, with the geometry of the Ebon Jaguar, it's just a massive hitbox, no matter which direction you're shooting at it from. So, someone with an AC-20 is still going to be able to take me down, because no matter how I rotate, they're still going to hit me pretty easily. They're still going to, connect with all their shots. So at this point, I think for the most part we were too scattered, and so they're just down to picking off our LRM boats, basically. This one is actually kind of interesting. I'll go back to the catapult in a minute, because that's just about the only interesting one here. But the catapult has, I think, a LRM-20 with Artemis and an LB-10. And I didn't catch how quickly they were moving, so I don't really know what size engine they have, but I'm sure it's an extra light engine. And they may not have a whole lot of ammo. But I mean, I kind of like the fact that they can, deliver moderate damage with their LRM and still have the LB10 to do, real damage with. Here we go. 71 kph, that's, I don't know, like a 265 or a maybe, I don't know, maybe a 270 rated engine, something along those lines. But they're definitely XL, because when this person dies, it's from losing their side torso. Not a great setup, but kind of interesting. But anyway, overall, this build did some decent damage, and I've tried it a few times. Most of the time, when I try to brawl with it, it just dies horribly, and I don't even do, near 537 damage. So I'll have to keep looking for something and really find this Ebon Jaguar's niche. It's an event mech with a special C-Bill bonus, so I really want to find something to do with it.